What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And of course, as we're dwindling down to the final days of the draft, I now have my Commanders picks. What the things that I think should happen. And I've broken it down to two scenarios. There are similar players in the second scenario, but not a lot. And each scenario is dealing with the fact that, one, if they don't move down, and the second scenario is if they do move down. So with that being said, I'm going to start off right at the top. So I'm going to start off with the scenario if they aren't able to move down or they don't move down. So in the first round of the draft, I have the Washington Commanders taking Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. This is a guy that I think is probably, in our current format where we're going to this new defensive scheme that no one knows about yet, you need a guy who's intelligent enough to sit up there and make the calls that need to be made, and at the same time put other players in position to be great. Not only that, Caleb Downs would give Nick Cross more freedom to play closer to the line and not feel the need to have to be concerned with getting beat deep and things like that. So for that, to me, just because of his intelligence, his more than likely his ability to be able to call plays and to adapt to what is going to be an unknown system on defense, Caleb Downs is probably the best player for this thing. You get an elite level safety playing on a team that is trying their best to install a new defense. Next, in the third round, I didn't talk about this guy because I really didn't want to put him on anybody's radars. But I like him a lot. And I do think that this is about getting like top end talent when you got the opportunity. So for this in the third round, and this is at close to the top of the third round, I have Washington. The selection here would be Julian Neal, the cornerback out of Arkansas. He's a very well-rounded cornerback, and he has all the traits you need. He can play man, he can play zone, and not only that, he can also play the outside, and he can play slot. So let's just say Mikey Sanders still does do well outside. You can play Julian Neal in the slot and have him be a big slot, which will be great. And because of that, I like him a lot. I really do like him a lot. And I do feel that there's an opportunity for him to be there. But I don't know, man. I mean, he's one of those very good cornerbacks that somehow got missed in the shuffle. But like I said, all the defensive backs in this class are like completely awesome. So it wouldn't be a drop-off when it comes to that. Next, in the fourth round, I got here that we would take Tariq Sapp, the edge guy out of Florida. Somehow Tariq Sapp has gotten to a point where he's like completely missed. He didn't have a great season last year, but his impact is still something major when it comes down to it. He's a guy that really can impact the game like you want him to. He's very stout against the run. Very, very stout against the run. He doesn't bend the corner as well as you want him to, but I think that that's a lot of stuff where he hasn't really had the opportunity to, because he's gone from playing defensive end, and there's a lot of times where they push him into defensive tackle just so he can rush from the interior more. So for that, I like Tariq Sapp. I think that he's a guy that when somebody grabs him, they're getting themselves a jewel. Again, he's not as effective as Ruben Bain was last year, but this past season. But again, he's still very effective. Next, in the 5th round, I have Washington taking Torian York, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. Again, I like him a lot. In the sense that he would be a very good Mike linebacker. Long term, he does attack downfield. He's not great in coverage, but where he's not great in coverage at, I think like Nick Cross and Caleb Downs can make that up for him. As you can see, like when I'm picking certain guys, I pick guys who are going to be great in spaces. So if another guy is not that great in a space, that guy can really help out. And with the Torian York pick, it's about the factor of Caleb Downs being very good in the pass coverage and Nick Cross being very good coming down to the box. That Torian York being a liability won't be seen as that bad because we'll see Caleb Downs and Nick Cross make plays to assist with him. So I like Torian York. Like I said, everything in front of him, he's going to do what he needs to do. And I think that will be the best pick in the 5th round. In the 6th round, I got Washington taking Kobe Young, the wide receiver out of Georgia, 6'5", 2-something. I think that the reason he's falling down the list is because a lot of people just don't pay attention to Georgia wide receivers for some reason. They really don't. Like I said, that's how George Pickens got missed. But he's one that when he's playing, he attacks the football. He gets downfield. He doesn't separate as well, but he does use his body very well. And I do think that he could be a fantastic number 2 receiver for the Commanders. And again, you're talking about a guy with size. So when you get down in those red zones, the ball can be thrown up in the air and he can out jump a lot of guys. So I like Kobe Young. I think he'll be a great fit for Washington. And that's who I got Washington taking in the 6th round. In the 7th round, I got us taking a running back, Roman Hembe, the running back out of Indiana. I think he will be there. I think he's one of these sleeper running backs that people are not paying attention to. He can be a 3-down back for you. It's not a thing where he needs to necessarily be taken off the field in 1st and 2nd down. I just think that that's what Indiana did to use more Kalen Black as a grinder. But I think Roman Hembe is a guy that really needs to be paid attention to. And by the way, nobody's really talking about him. He could fall down to the 7th round, and that would be a really good pickup for Washington. So that is my first scenario. The first scenario is based on no movement in the draft. They haven't moved down or anything of that such nature. My second scenario is simple. Even though they moved down, in the process, I have them picking up a 2nd round pick, but losing their 5th round pick. I think that if they move down and they do pick up a 2nd, they're going to have to give up. Initially, I thought it might. Initially, I was like, well, maybe it'll be a 6. I think whoever moves down and give them the 2nd is going to want the 5th in return. So, I think they're going to lose a 5th round pick, but they'll gain the 2nd round pick. So with that being said, in my second scenario, where they move down out of 7, I got Washington in the 1st round taking Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker out of Texas. To me, this is the best green dot backer in the draft. He's a guy that, again, the same thing that I talked about with Caleb Downs it's pretty much the same thing with him. You're installing a new defense. You need a guy who can pick it up and learn it immediately, and a guy who can put people in the right place and at the same time make plays themselves. He's a very awesome sideline backer. He's not a liability in coverage. And on top of that, he gets it. He understands what's going on. And with that, that is what Washington needs. If they were to move down, they would need a guy like this immediately in there as a linebacker for themselves. So Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker out of Texas. In the second round, I have them taking Chris Bell, the wide receiver out of Louisville. Now, I know he was like I think he was kind of injured this year, and he didn't have a solid season. But the thing about him is that he's a guy that could really make an impact on the team. Playing opposite of Terry McLaurin, he looks like a hulking guy, and he basically can run people over. He contested catches is nothing for him. He's not the speediest guy, but he's fast enough to get enough separation for himself and actually make plays. So again, this is where I'm looking at like what we can do and what would be great for us coming into this draft with this second scenario. I like Chris Bell. This will be a very high quality pick, especially you talking about in the second round. This would be a great pickup for Washington. In the third round, I still have Julian Neal, cornerback out of Arkansas. I just think that he's really good. And the fact that he's so far down the list is like, I don't know what's attributing to that, but I mean, the fact that he's so far down the list and there's a chance that he can go in the third round, I would like for us to snag him in the third round. He's somebody that, again, I understand that we may feel that we don't need corners, but, you know, again, high-level talent, it's hard to bypass high-level talent. You can't just let guys just go by the wayside, especially when there's an opportunity to really pick them up. Next, in the fourth round, I got Washington taking Genesis Smith, the safety out of Arizona. Now, this dude is good in coverage. He's very good in coverage and very good in man and very good in zone. And he's one of those safeties that if Daronte Jones is in fact going with that type of Brian Flores scheme, he needs a safety that can actually play in zone and in man, and this is the guy that does it. Now, I will say this, his tackling needs help. It will be a situation where teaching him how to wrap up will be the perfect thing to help with him. But I'm telling you, Genesis Smith is a big impact guy. And like I said, again, you add a guy who really does a fantastic job with being in coverage and also does a fantastic job in the run game. He's good in the run game too, but zone and in coverage, zone and man, this guy can do it. And like I said, he's a guy that's also being slept on. But again, you can get Genesis Smith. You grabbed you something great. In the sixth round, I have Washington taking Cameron James, the edge out of Florida. I think he would be a great developmental project. I like the way he comes off the edge when it comes down to getting to the quarterback and everything. I think coming into the league, he could be very situational starting out. And then as he gets more acclimated to the league, I think he will be something very special, especially as he starts to get the understanding of what he really needs to do. He's really good when he comes off the edge. When he was playing in Florida, and at 6'6", you need a guy that hulking to sit up there and be able to, you know, make plays, especially in the run game and the pass game. So not only that, he's fairly athletic. He's not a non-athletic guy. You don't see him jump to make plays a lot, but I'm pretty sure that they can teach him how to make plays and jump for the football and get his hands up. Because again, you can get his hands up. He probably has a wingspan of like 6'8", 6'9". So again, I like Cameron James, the edge out of Florida, in the 6th round. And in the 7th round, again, Roman Hembe, running back out of Indiana. I just think that he's a guy worth, his value is more than what you think. And in the 7th round, I think that'll be great. I know, Washington fans, yes, we took a running back in the 7th round before, but sometimes you just need to keep taking guys until you get that right guy. So for me, that is what it is. So those are my 2 scenarios for Washington when it comes to what they should do in the upcoming draft. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel? Do y'all like scenario 1 or do y'all like scenario 2? Or do you like a combination of the 2 scenarios? Y'all tell me in the comments below. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and it's been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.